Rock Galactic is my favourite Australia simulator where you get to experience the daily life of your average bogan by fighting bugs, mining resources for a company with dubious ties to the CCP, and drinking yourself to death. I will tell you right now that this game is good. Very good. Go buy it. It is the most enjoyable game I've played in a long time because the devs did this new and innovative thing called play. DLG's gameplay is what happens if Left 4 Dead and Minecraft had a baby, which then gets adopted by TF2 and viscera cleanup detail. Our job is to help China fund its latest scheme to dethrone the dollar by stripping Hoxies of its resources, relocating its diverse fauna 6 feet under whilst taking their eggs, and acquiring technology from rival companies through persuasive means. All of this is done with the ethical and humane tools at our disposal, as well as a reminder that we are in fact the good guys. Oh yeah, did I also mention we play as dwarves?
Legalize nuclear.
Whoa! Oh no! Oh dear! Ah! Oh my!
So, what am I supposed to do? Welcome to Deep Rock Galactic, the 100% legit and OSHA certified mining corporation. Please ignore the screaming in the caves and enjoy your mandatory mug of alcohol. Yes, you heard that correctly. Drinking is not optional. It's not peer pressure, it is company policy. Your job at this fine establishment is to embark on a wide variety of missions to get rich and dramatically reduce the biodiversity of Hoxies using one of 4 dwarves, each armed with weapons specifically designed to add amendments to the Geneva Convention. The first of these lovely gentlemen is the Driller. His weapons are rather spicy, a bit dicey, and also quite icy. They specialise in the mass extinction of the smaller bugs that you'll find, but against the bigger ones you might as well be tickling them. Alongside your weapons you have your tools, one of which focuses on shaping the environment to your will, being able to clear obstacles and create tunnels and bunkers that will aid your team in their goals. And the other is notoriously used more on the scouts than anything else in the game. I honestly forget that I even have the C4 and I rarely use it, even for trolling. And when I do remember, I just chuck it at the biggest thing in the room. The engineer is the class for people who like to solve practical problems, like how do I stop a horde of glyphids from giving me a second anus? How do I reach the idiot scout that has died out of my reach? And how do I help my team gather all the resources needed to win? The answer to all of these questions is a very liberal use of nuclear weapons. If God didn't want me to glass the glyphids, then he shouldn't have made atoms fissile. Unfortunately for new players, you don't have access to the funny rock thrower, and you have to suffer through engineers' fucking awful stock grind. Your starting shotgun is dog shit, and stays dog shit even when upgraded. The grenade launcher is anemic without any of the late game content, and you only have a single Mark 1 turret. NG does get better with upgrades and weapon unlocks, but you get those through having to bear what is essentially a one-note class, with that note being C for the cheese dispenser that you have. The primary use of the platform gun is to make the scout's life way easier by giving him somewhere to stand when mining resources in annoying spots. Apart from that, it's mainly used for map traversal, making cover, and being used as a cushion to reduce fall damage. Unless you've decided to be a fucking cunt. Next on the list of Serbian war criminals is the Gunner. In a way, he is the anti-driller. Instead of focusing on AoE damage to small bugs, the Gunner has fantastic single target damage which allows you to tear through the bigger bugs with relative ease. His secondaries aren't slouches either, and his shield is actually useful to the team. Like the other classes, the Gunner's highs are enough of a dopamine boost to satisfy my depressed ADHD-riddled Gen Z brain for more than 5 fucking minutes. Unlike the other classes, they don't have a big anchor dragging down the fun factor, and that anchor is the fucking zipline. The engineer stock grind isn't even that bad. I was just trying to get people to complain in the comments to boost the video's engagement. This shit is actually awful. It's restrictive, it's dangerous, and God forbid you need to get anywhere quickly. It has a use which is admittedly rather important, but it is far from fun. It's a sudden slam on the brakes on a class whose top speed is max Jesus Christ almighty. Thank God, the jet boots are a thing now. If the lack of consistent fun mobility is a deal breaker for you, then the last of the defendants at the Space Hague has got you covered. The Scout and his grappling hook are one of the most enjoyable things in this game. The way you're able to fly around with complete control and then fall to your death is full of the exaggerated swagger of a drunk dwarf. Your job as the Scout is resource gathering and keeping the caves lit with your comically large flare gun, as the caves are dark and full of terrors. Both of these jobs are equally important, so don't neglect them. Yes, the other classes can do these jobs, but the Scout is just better. As for the weapons to use, they focus on single target damage like the gunner, but they do not have the same sustained DPS. My recommendation is to run the M1000 with whatever secondary of your choosing. It's a space ground that one-shots every grunt in the game at any Haz level, and yes, it does have the ping. I personally like to run the crossbow as my secondary due to its utility, and I switch up the grenades between cryo and pheromones because they are both great get-off-me buttons. Which is particularly important on the higher difficulties, as when shit hits the fan, the only thing you can do is run! Welcome to the Space Rig. This will be your hub area where you'll get to interact with many different things such as the bar, the closet, and most importantly, an orb for you to ponder over which missions and unforeseen horrors you'll witness next. The missions that you can play range from fun to alright to industrial sabotage. I'm indeed joking, of course. Salvage missions are way worse, and depending on the biome that you find yourself in, point extraction can also be a ball ache. The difference between each biome is the resources they have, the colour palette, and the annoying fucking obstacles in your way. You have Hell, Infinite Slow, the Pharaoh's Curse, and London. If the planet wasn't sending you enough of a message to fuck off, then it's got even more cards up its sleeve. Each mission can have mutators which add a little bit of spice, like spawning a completely invincible and near invisible bulk detonator, or spawning 500,000 of the game's best feature. This excludes the random mini-bosses that you can face. You will have absolutely no warning of their presence aside from the noises they make when you plunge into the depth of Hoxie's, and they are specifically designed to keep you there permanently. This is all on top of the objectives you have to complete when you drop into a mission, which there are 8 to choose from that I'll go through the lightning round because going through each one in depth isn't funny. Blue rock mining, ingredient acquisition, Polish nation building. Bigger, bluer rock mining, rock lobotomy, battery breaking, aggressive negotiations over shared market access. On top of all of this is one teeny tiny massive fucking cargo container full of angry spiders labelled hazard level to go over. This is the game's difficulty slider, which is set by you, the player. It has 5 options to choose from, but not all are made equally. The first 2 levels are easy enough for the single-celled organisms known as game journalists to finish, and the rewards you get are worth as much as these amoeba's opinions. Hazard 3 is still easy, but will actually give you some kind of progress upon completion. Hazard 4 is a nice challenge that pays well, and Hazard 5 is... To say there is a spike in difficulty is underselling the point. It's less of a difficulty spike and more of a difficulty pike, long enough to give you a London handshake at an antisocial distance, as the step up from Haz 4 to Haz 5 is large enough to give Goliath's thighs a workout. And if you're the kind of person who wishes for their balls to be minced, packaged and sold as beef instead of the regular crushing, then there is still one level of difficulty higher than Hazard 5, but to access that, you need to acquire your special stars so you can plunge into the bowels of a hostile planet, with the rewards for doing so being ghetto weapon upgrades and a visit from the ATM. Welcome to hell. Please choose how painful you want your experience to be. You have 2 choices, mildly annoying and doom. Deep dives are DRG's late game content. There are 6 missions split into 3 stages, with the difficulty slowly increasing with each stage completed, all bundled into one package. The secondary objectives are just primaries but less, and the primaries are primaries that haven't changed at all. What specific missions you'll go on are hidden from you at first, but everyone gets the same missions. And if you're so inclined, you can wait until people have completed them, post what this week's deep dive consists of on the DRG subreddit or Discord, and plan accordingly. Or you can be like me B, where you can wait until midday every Thursday and go in blind with a grunt killing build and pray to Carl that there aren't too many dreadnoughts to deal with. Your rewards for completing deep dives are overclocks, and there are 3 types that you can get: blank, weapon, and cosmetic. Weapon and cosmetic overclocks can be crafted using an obscene amount of resources and are forged into usable items. The cosmetic overclocks craft into the obvious, but the weapon overclocks craft into very funny weapon upgrades, where the colour of the overclock generally determines how funny the overclock is. Blank overclocks don't give you anything at first, but they can be turned into either of the other overclocks by completing machine events, which are mostly fine. The problem with the whole system is that machine events are not common. You only get 2 of each overclock a week by completing both of the deep dives, and you cannot choose what specific overclock you want. If you want that really fun one that everyone talks about, get fucked. This is somewhat alleviated by promotions also giving overclocks when completed, but then again, you cannot choose what overclocks you want, and 2 of them aren't weapon overclocks. The overclock grind, as well as a couple of things that I haven't mentioned, like the tacked on and front loader perk system and the god-awful mineral trader, are the only real negatives this game has. The rest of the game is honestly great. I would not have spent insert amount of time it took to make this video here, making this video if I did not like and recommend it. The only time I had to open my wallet was to purchase the bloody game, and I suggest you also fork over the money to experience the best horde shooter since Left 4 Dead 2. With that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching this incoherent mess, and subscribe, with the next video either being a Hades 2 review if it gets released in any state within the next week of this video going up, or if that fails, Valorant, because I hate myself. Don't screw me over, Supergiant.
Bruh.